organize that. Tell Hansen that he will get a chance to play Hikaru. If he wants it, Hikaru doesn't back away from a challenge. Challenges back away from him. All right, I'll stop the Chuck Norris jokes. I was just having fun, okay? Just having fun. All right, well, now Eric Hansen and Hikaru can have their fun and make it happen. We are now seeing two very strong grandmasters. Hikaru, of course, being the one of the strongest in the world. Eric Hansen, young, talented grandmaster out of Canada. I've known Eric since he was a kid. Not necessarily a little kid, because he was never little, always a really tall guy. But I've known Eric since he was younger, one of the top players from Canada. Now Eric currently lives, I believe, in the Netherlands. He can confirm that for people in the chat, but pretty sure he does. A good start for White. Not necessarily my favorite kind of Sicilian for Eric, but he's going to do his best to create queenside counterplay here to make up for the dominant center White has. Bishop to c5 was threatened, so Hikaru says, okay, I'm going to back that thing up. e5 is a move that he would like to play now. But maybe Hansen can put the knight on d5. Hikaru says, I'm not really sure I care. I'll trade and then play king to b1. Is that what he's thinking, or is he going to play knight to e4 and head to a position where he doesn't care about the dark square bishop? No, he goes for the first idea. Takes and plays king to b1. Probably even b3 is okay here. Yeah. And then he can work on kicking back the white piece, the black pieces. This is a little bit tricky, though. Hansen definitely bringing the heat. Definitely bringing the heat here against Hikaru. Hikaru plays a3. My guess is he can meet b4 with queen takes a6. That's kind of key. That's kind of critical as far as making a3 work, because b4 is a very dangerous threat to try to pry open the mating attack. And so... And so there you go. So apparently Eric had stepped away before, so he apologizes for that, but happy to be here playing now. Black is definitely doing okay here. It's weird, because if Black doesn't get the counterplay that he wants, White is still going to be positionally better in the long run because of the weaknesses along the d-file. This e5 pawn is making a critical point on d6, which leaves the d7 pawn backward. So... even a move like, oh, maybe not queen to d2, because then b4. Well, Hansen is going to play, what I'm trying to get to is this game is going to become one where either Eric gets a winning attack against White, or Hikaru is going to win the game long term, or at least be better in the endgame if he can simplify the position and take away some of Black's pressure. But this is definitely one of the strongest games we've had so far. Obviously, Glass Eyes taking Hikaru down, still the mystery man who played a super high-quality game against Hikaru earlier, if you're just joining us. But other than that, we've seen Hikaru be pretty dominant, not really play anybody who could give him a run for the old money. But now he's probably calculating a few things, along with a4 as well as b3. He decides on b3 first, and this is it. This is how the West was won right here. This is how champions are made. This is how unnecessary metaphors come into play on a chess show. You know what I'm talking about? b3 is played to... Okay, and Eric says I'm going for it. He's probably going to play rook c3 immediately, which looks really strong. I don't think that this is going to work out super well for Hikaru, actually. I think that he's not going to be able to hold this position. Although, amazingly, he can actually get away with bishop to b2. Wow! Because the pawn can't take, because it's pinned to the queen. This is still a ton of pressure for Black, but if Hikaru can just sacrifice this pawn and prevent this from happening, he'll be in really good shape. He's going to play a4 here for sure. And if a4 queen takes, then he can even play queen takes d7, offer a queen trade, and meet queen a3 with a move like rook to b2, d2, and I don't see a way for Hansen to win, actually. So as usual, I was wrong. Wait, queen takes d7 could be met by rook takes b2, and then queen a3 check, and then queen to b3 check, which would actually be a perpetual. So Hikaru says, no, 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 right? He goes with Dikembe Mutombo on that and says, get out of my house, right? Queen to c2. Now he's threatening... nothing really. No, he is threatening. He's threatening rook to d3, and that's no fun. He's also making Eric realize that time is of the essence now. Queen a3 is played, but it doesn't do enough. Rook takes d7. The move now is probably bishop e4, which has a dual threat. Rook to d3 to trade everything. Wait, rook to d1 is also possible here, but I would probably play bishop e4 if I was Hikaru. Hit h7, threaten rook to d3, and Hikaru is going to be on his way to winning and surviving what was a really vicious attack from Eric Hansen. Should be on his way to winning this game now. I don't know why he didn't play bishop e4 the move before. There must have been some threat with rook to c8 I wasn't seeing to deflect the queen and mate. So Hikaru saw more than I did. Big surprise, right? And avoids the concrete threats from black. And he's creating a situation now where he's defended everything. And I think just rook c8 and h5 is coming, and Eric's going to lose on time here. Yeah, didn't have enough. Wow, that was an exciting game. That was exciting. Maybe they'll play again. Rematch? All right. I don't know if they're going to rematch. Oh, they are. Oh, that wasn't enough. One was not enough when you see that kind of quality chess right there. That was a really exciting game, and I almost have to shame myself for thinking that Eric was going to win that attack, right? The champ was not going to go... I told Hikaru, I said, you can finish with Eric and then play me if you want. He's like, all right, fine, I'll pound you too. Like, thanks, buddy. You know? All right, well, here we have a McCutcheon French, which is... Ooh, the bishop to c1 McCutcheon French. I don't know this line. I always get excited when grandmasters play things I don't know. Like I'm going to learn something, as if it would ever make a difference to make me a better chess player. Let's be honest, Danny, you're beyond help. Okay, but I don't really know this line, other than the fact that it's a typical French, and black is going to play for the typical strategical ideas. c5, and white's going to want to defend the center so that he can focus on an attack. These b6 lines with bishop a6 are also always interesting because they're so positionally sound for black. Hikaru is just trying to get rid of what is the bad bishop for the good bishop. Then he can slowly reorganize and do plans that are all based around the typical French approach, getting counterplay on the queen side, trying to undermine white's center with the moves like c5. And that's exactly what he's doing here. I really like the way he's playing this. I do not think this is a McCutcheon French gone perfectly for Eric, and I really like this too. What Hikaru's doing is, by putting the king on the queen side, it makes white's pieces feel more and more misplaced because they're not going to be able to bring an attack as quickly over here as he'll probably be able to do over here. If I'm Hikaru, I'd probably look to play rook g8 and then advance these pawns. King to b7 is a prophylactic move first. Makes sense. And again, he wants to bring the rook to g8 and then play g5 and open things up so that he can get an attack against white's king. Thank you, everybody who joined us today. Not saying that because we're saying our goodbyes yet. We still got some exciting games here, but if you are just joining us, where have you been? You clearly wasted your Saturday because the most exciting thing in the world was happening right here. For those of you who've been with us, thank you for being with us, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope you subscribed to our channel. You can also subscribe everywhere else. YouTube/chess. We got Twitch. We got Facebook. We got everything. You know, just go do it. All right. What's going to happen now? The d-pawn's going to come under fire, and that's what I'm thinking about. I don't understand the way Hikaru played it, because now he's going to lose that pawn. He's probably still totally fine in the endgame, honestly. It's still a position where we might even prefer black, because if takes, black can play like b5 and critically just like trap those pawns on the dark squares, where even if you consider that all of white's pawns are sort of stuck, it's hard to believe he'd be any worse. I'd play for b5 and then... okay, well, he finds a way to not lose the pawn. What I wanted was b5, taking everything, trade rooks, and then be winning in the endgame with the king entering on the light squares. I actually think my idea was even better in this rare case. I can save this game just so I can show Hikaru the really awesome idea I found, so he can be like, yeah, Danny, what's your point, right? But I won't do that. I won't do that because I'm better than that. let's be honest, I'm not above that at all. I'm going to save this game and then show Hikaru the idea and see if he tells me what's wrong with it. A4, but Hikaru's just winning in this endgame if he can just get the king out, because white's pawns are so much easier to target. Can he play bishop to c5 and offer the trade? He could, but he may not be winning no matter what, because if bishop c5, white's just going to play f4. If bishop c5 takes, white would lose because the king would enter too fast. But he's not. Probably Hikaru's not going to be able to win this endgame unless there's something about this that I'm just not understanding. He can bring the king over and try for g6 and make a trade, but I don't think it's possible to dislodge white on the corner. He can give check, and now he's going to play g6. No, he wants to prevent a5. Probably this game will end in a draw unless Hikaru decides he wants to win on time against Eric, which is totally reasonable. Creating a form of zugzwang. Oh, but now he's going to go after that pawn. If king g3, then he gets something like h5 and h4? I guess so. He can play h4 now and then take, and after bishop here to guard the pawn, now white is going to lose, because I think if bishop to d4, I think black can start to push him back and create a way in with the king. Hansen sees that coming, and he's going to try to keep the king there as best he can. The point is, if this king retreats, then black will create an avenue for the king to get in. So white has to try to keep this king out. Hikaru's goal, okay, he's going to give this check, and then he's going to try to get in. Hikaru's goal is going to be to try to create a position where he can improve the king and get in, and he's doing just that. Really impressive technique here. Once again, I show why I am not in their league or class at all by saying that Hikaru was not going to be able to win this game. Danny once again doubted Hikaru. Not that I doubted Hikaru, I was talking about the position generally, okay? And this is now just easily winning. He's going to be able to even give up the bishop for this pawn. Unless Hikaru made a huge blunder there. No. Oh, smashing. Ouchtown. Ouchtown. Population white, bro. Look at that. He pins the pawn to the bishop, and it's over. If b7, you take the bishop. If the bishop moves, you take the pawn. If white just sits there, black's just going to advance the pawn and queen. I would have played a4 here and just gone in for some crazy race where I'm probably winning anyway, but I would have made it a lot crazier. Bishop to d4 that's super GM stuff right there. All right, look at this. This is exciting. Two things that make me more excited than sacrificing a b2 pawn to the queen, and neither is appropriate for this show. What is going on right now is probably a3 and b4, although you do have to be a little careful of b5 if you're Hikaru. Hikaru is currently up 2-0 in this little mini-match with Eric Hansen. He's not shying away from a challenge. I'm so glad that one strong GM showed up to challenge Hikaru today. Right? Besides me. Okay. Hikaru's just sacrificing the b-pawn? Holy shenanigans. And then c4? Isn't b3 check? Knight d2, knight e4 a little bit nasty? That's nasty. He's just... Oh, wait. He's just winning a piece here. I think Hikaru just blundered away this game. That was weird. Hikaru doesn't normally make blunders out of the opening, so he just clearly miscalculated that. But he's not going to give up, because this game is going to be something that still has a little bit of technique required from Mr. Eric Hansen, and Hikaru is going to see if he can win after blundering a piece out of the opening. We can back up and take a look at that, but I think Hikaru just blundered with this move. This whole idea with knight a4 and c3 created this dynamic where the knight was being threatened to be trapped, and I think he even the best players in the world make mistakes. We'll see if he can come back. He's down, both on time. Oh, I guess he's up a little bit on time, but he's down enough on the board that, he would definitely lose in a classical game. But this is blitz. Not for the faint-hearted. He's going to play f4. He wants to play f4 anyway, and try to create an attack. And Danny, in some of your previous games, you've made a mention that you might make a plan for GM. I would love to go for GM, but right now we're busy building the best chess website and company in the world, and Chess.com. I do want to go try to improve my chess skills again at some point. I'm still young. I'm not 30 yet, so hopefully that's okay. The way that I'm highlighting and drawing things is simply by right-clicking on the board. When you're observing any board yourself on Chess.com, you too have the ability to make a chess video. You can draw arrows and highlight squares and pretty much do whatever you want on a board if you are analyzing a game. If you're observing someone's game, you can do all the same things I'm doing. So just use the right-click. That's all I'm doing. Nothing fancy schmancy. Hikaru should lose this game. He just didn't quite get enough for the compensation. He tried to create some controversy after blundering his piece, but really he was sort of outmatched there. Blundering a piece that early against a strong player like this, really hard to come back from that, you know? And I don't think Hikaru will be an exception to that in this game. He may decide to play one more against Eric because Hikaru doesn't like to go on a loss, or he may decide to move on to me and just seek his revenge by, you know, taking advantage of, dad disciplines the kid goes and, is mean to the dog, right? So Hikaru's going to go take it out on me. But I'm not endorsing that behavior, by the way. I'm saying that's a problem, right? Don't get all political on me, like, hey, you just endorse being mean to dogs and people. That's not what I did. But I was just saying that that's something that sometimes happens in our society, and I don't approve of it. That's what I was saying. Get over it. Well, Hikaru is creating some controversy. If he wins this game, I just it's going to be like a We're Not Worthy from Wayne's World. I'm serious. I'm just going to go nuts. I'm just going to go nuts. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on. It's just too much to hold on in this position. He's been down a piece for 70 moves. That's an exaggeration. I'm good at that. Okay, if bishop c8, he takes here, though. Okay, bishop comes to a4, but probably Hikaru should take f5 first? No, he decides to take f7 first. But what's Eric Hansen trying to do? He's trying to bring the bishop to f3, which will lead to bringing the bishop to e2. Okay, Hikaru is going to try to prevent this from happening by going to get a queen. That would be a problem. That would be a problem for Eric if Hikaru went and got a queen. But now he can take f5, I think. Or bishop e5. And now who's winning? Probably not Eric Hansen anymore. I don't know that was the best way for Hikaru to do it. I thought maybe he should have just taken on f5, actually. But he didn't. He's still making something magical happen here, that's for sure. Unless he gets mated. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea what's going on here. If he plays e3, though, but he just takes. Hikaru comes back and wins the game after blundering a piece out of the opening. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Seriously, right? I mean, that was redunculous. That was totally ridic. Which is Italian for redunk. Which is American for ridiculous. Man, that was awesome. Hikaru came back and won that game. Holy shenanigans. And you know what Hikaru just did? He just brought it in for the real thing by challenging me. Are you guys ready for the climax of this show? Bring it on, Danny. Show Hikaru what it's all about. Oh, I'm going to show you, baby girl. I'm going to show you what it's all about. Don't think I won't play this way. I'll play the McCutcheon with you all day, sister. Hikaru, I'm going to bring it in, dude. You're about to get smashed. You can't play this way against me. I invented this opening. I invented it. Just in my spare time. On Chess.com, it's just something I do. I just invent openings all the time. Don't even worry about it. Because it's about to be brought in right now. Wait, can you play this way? Can you bring the noise and the funk like this? I don't know, but you're doing it. You're doing it, and I don't even like it. I'm not even sure I care, though. Bring it on, Donkey Kong. I'm going to play there. Uh-oh. Can I not defend that pawn? Probably I can't, but I probably don't even care. I'm probably about to rock his world. I am probably about to rock his world. He's got nothing. Jingling. Jingling. Say what? Can I play G7? If I take F7, he takes Rook F3 check, king moves, Czechorusky. Boom town. Yeah, you better run with that king. You better run with that king, kitten. Bishop D2, Queen E4 check, takes, knight takes. Probably not enough for me to get anything. Have to be a little more careful than that, yeah? Right. There must be something here for me, right? It feels good. I don't know. Let's just say this isn't my first rodeo. This ain't my first blitz game, all right? Badunk-a-dunk. Like I said. But Hikaru winning that last game was seriously a Wayne's World We're Not Worthy moment. That was awesome. Hikaru blundered a piece against Eric and came back and won. And once again, I feel like I should never doubt Hikaru again. I feel like I should be shamed into some sort of, confessional. That's how I feel right now. Can he really do that? What is he doing? I never know what he's doing. I feel like he doesn't even know what he's doing. I'm just going to go for things. I'm going to go for Crazy Town, and I'm probably going to win this game. I have to go for this. And if I get mated, I get mated. So be it. If I get mated, I get mated. It wouldn't be the first time. And I did not mean that in any sort of inappropriate way. I meant it purely in, I lose chess games. Literally, losing chess games is what I do for a living. That's all I do. I lose chess games. Some people, all they do is win. All I do is lose. All I do is lose, 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 lose. All I do is lose. All right. Am I about to... Oh, he's playing Queen B1 check? Oh, right. Crikey. Absolutely. You know the difference between an Australian and a New Guinea accent? See, absolutely is a little more Australian. They elongate their... Right. The outback. Nice. Right? New Zealand is a little more cut off. Talk like this. Good eye. Right? Good eye. That's how you know a New Zealand versus Australian. You just learned something. So at least you can leave here saying, I learned something about accents from Danny today. You're welcome. At least you can leave saying you learned something. What are you doing, Hikaru? You always beat me, and it's not fair. Even when I talk tons of trash and almost beat you. Where's the mate? Where's the mate? Show me the mate. I just went Cuba Gooding Jr. on you. Show me the money. Is there a mate? Oh, there is a mate. Owie. Hikaru wins again. All that trash talk, I was just kidding, man. I was totally just kidding. That was amazing. I mean, should we play best of 3? Let's play one more. Best of 3. One more. All right? Yo. All right? Yo, get over here. Yo, forget about it. I'm going to take him down right here. What? Wait, what's going on? Abort? Okay, rematch. That was super weird. My board got frozen. That was weird and not healthy. That was super weird. What are you doing? I never know what you're doing. You want to play the Blumenfeld? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's like people who know chess are like, oh, snap. Y'all just got real. Things just went down. Wait, can you do this? What are you doing? Hikaru, I don't know what you're doing. Stop it. You're doing things. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, snap. Not my first time seeing that tactic. Oh, it's not my first time blundering either. Oops. If I take, he had bishop e4. Oops. That was bad. I was supposed to play... By the way, that tactic does occur in games. I should have been a little more patient. I should have played e5 or castle or something first. So I should have known that the number 3 player in the world is not blundering that common knight takes d5 tactic out of the opening. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. Some people's hindsight vision is 20/20. The only vision I have is hindsight. Okay, so I don't even get to choose if it's 20/20 or not. I'm just constantly regretting my decisions. All right? Why don't you try that on? I feel like Zach Galifianakis here. Why don't you try being, fat and smelling like Doritos and then try to make it in Hollywood? You know what I'm talking about? This is just not good. I don't think I'm losing yet, though, so I'm just going to make moves. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just trying to survive. The story of my life, you know? What are you doing? What are you doing? I can't recover from my blunder. I can't recover from my blunder. Okay, I can play bishop f6. You can take, and then I'll take, and then he can move, and I get like a couple pieces for them. I get a rook for a couple pieces. I want to take here, and if he takes a6, sack f3, but if I take, he can take on g5. So my trick doesn't work. Darn it. Unless there's something else nasty I can do. Bam, slam, jam, cram, jam, slam, wham, Chekaruski. I got nothing. All right, I got to go for this. I wanted to take e6, Hikaru. If you would have let me win, I would have done it. But you wouldn't let me win. So instead, I have to go for this worse endgame where I get a rook for 2 pieces. I know. I'm aware of how good your position is. We all get it. We know how much better you are than Danny. All right. I'm going to bring that rook to e8, though. Oh, you better believe it. I'm going to shake and bake. I'll let you sack that queen. Go for it, kitten. You want to sack that queen? Sack that queen. Yo, sack that queen. I'm going to go get the a-pawn now. Oh, I should have played queen a6. Oh, that was silly of me. Are you going to mate me? That wouldn't be very polite. Yeah, but you better have mate. You better have mate. Or you're going to regret it. I've only got 30 seconds, though. Time to cowboy up, as they say, in the PG version of that saying. You know, time to cowboy up or shut up, right? You know what I'm talking about. Do I have anything here? I think I do. I have some kind of compensation. If he plays rook c2, I have b3, and then he's losing. The queen is actually going to hold her own. If I had time on the clock, but I don't have any time. Excuses, Danny. We get it. We know you're making excuses. Yeah, I am. Oh, Snaptown. If I play king there, he wins. I have to go this way. Oh, no, then he has 95. Oh. If I had played, by the way, if I had played king here, he would have played knight g5 check, and after everything takes, he has rook there. And if I had played king here, maybe king f5 would have been something worthy. But Hikaru shows why he is the man by forking me. That would have been sweet. I'm just going to resign to show everybody how Hikaru would have won if I had played king to h7 with the brilliant knight check, and then he mates me here. I mean, I can give up the queen, but I'm lost, so. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. Hikaru Nakamura, once again, amazing. We love it. All right, let's bring Hikaru back on, right, before we end the show and talk a little bit about what happened there. Let's bring him back on just for a momento. Just for a momento. Dude, that really hurt. That really hurt in a good way, which is weird, you know?
What happens when you try to get clever in the opening and play a flashy tactic?
I know, totally. And I was like, what was I thinking that Hikaru didn't see that idea? Of course you knew what was going. I was just totally, yeah. Hikaru's talking about my knight takes d5, which for everyone here is an idea that black can play for in this little, line of the Blumenfeld, but not here. And I just totally got, excited. I got overly excited. I was nervous. I was like a giddy little schoolgirl playing you.
You know better. I don't miss this.
I should know better. No, totally. That game where you came back and won against Eric after being down a piece, hashtag we're not worthy. That was amazing. That was awesome, dude. And I know it was wild, and it was just you doing your best after, basically a blunder in the opening, and you came back. But that was awesome. The crowd went wild for that. All right, well, a fantastic day. You didn't lose a single game besides the game to Glass Ice, who we're still looking into if that is a, secret super GM in disguise, or perhaps, a technological device that shall not be named. But no, but that was an interesting game, right? What was your feeling? That game just was that was a weird game. But other than that, I mean, really just dominant by you today. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, but a couple guys did play quite well. There was that one game where I was losing at the end. I flagged the guy.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. I think it was David Sanders, or David Sanders 2, I think was his name.
Got it. Sorry. Yeah, David Sanders. Yeah, he played well, and then you ended up doing what you got to do sometimes in Blitz, right?
Yeah. He played quite well. Also, there was the guy early on, I think it was Pot Pie Dude, also, who decided he wanted to play like me when he's black. In that Scotch 4 Nights.
Right.
When he decided to follow my game with Robson from the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, no, it was funny. A lot of people in chat were pointing that out, which is awesome that so many people, followed the U.S. Championship in your games. But
right.
But yeah, so that game was also a good one. What went wrong in that Scotch, by the way? If I pulled that up,
If you pull that up, I mean, it was pretty equal the whole way through. I think in general, the position was okay, nevertheless, but I felt that C5 was a positional error. Once I had gone C4, I think Black needs to wait until White either plays C5 or White takes on D5.
Uh-huh.
Because in the position he played C5, I was able to go Knight C3, and even though he had a tactical solution in that instance, normally it's not the best way of playing.
Right. Yeah, no, and you happily sacrificed the exchange there. You were you definitely had.
It was probably only equal, but still, it's
right.
It's definitely reasonable.
Yeah, and but his decision to go to the end game, obviously getting the doubled F pawns. This position is still dynamic enough where Black's bishop pair can be okay here. It's just
absolutely,
okay.
Yeah. There are many games where White also puts the knight on G3 or D4, which is I think there was a game Caruana Morozevich, which had a similar kind of structure, and the knight I think ended up on G3, and somehow it ended up going to H5 at some point.
Right.
But for the most part, yeah. But the two bishops are pretty strong, even though you have a bad pawn structure.
Okay. Yeah, so the game with Pot Pie Dude, obviously the game with David Sanders, he played extremely well. The win by Glass Ice, as we pointed out, but the games with Eric were... What?
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. The first game with Eric, of course, where I think he was probably winning.
Yeah, but we couldn't quite see it. I was trying... I'll admit that everyone ridiculed me. This is how much they love you for doubting that you were going to win. But I was saying it looks like Eric's attack was really strong, and I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to hold on, but you did. Had you
I think once I got A4, and it probably was fine. I think he might have been able to go Queen A4 at the right moment instead of Rook B8.
I'm looking at that now.
A4, because once I get an A4, it's very hard for Black to do anything. So, it's just, it's a difficult position. I think there's still a lot of play for both sides, but it's not clear at all.
If Queen A4 is played, do you maybe try to settle for a draw with Queen takes D7 and allow him to play Rook takes B2 check and get a perpetual with Queen takes
A3?
maybe
I have to do that.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't have done that in the game, though, because I was trying not to give away any points.
Yeah, you don't go for draws. We love that.
Right.
Okay, no, but Queen A4, that's brilliant, actually. I didn't see that. I was looking at this position and remembering saying the same thing, that as soon as you got A4, feeling much better about your chances, and so... Okay, so there we go, everybody. That was maybe Eric's improvement, was this move Queen A4, though. Then the only other one I told everyone I would bring up with you was the next game where you were black. You in the end. Let's see. There was this McCutcheon endgame where you played.
Yes, this endgame. Yeah, I mean, Eric actually played quite well to find this nice little idea with B5. Which was, quite nice, because once he gets in B5 and A4, all the endgames should be drawn.
Right.
Just as a general rule. But basically, Eric's mistake was he went F3, which, if he doesn't go F3, if he leaves the pawns on F2 and F4 and just puts the bishop on E3 and goes King G3, H3 forever, it should just be a draw.
Right. Showing everybody that as you're talking, yeah. So it should have been a draw. And the move that I wanted to ask you about was the idea I saw on... in the position where you decided to play Rook C8 and give up the D pawn for the C2 pawn, I thought that maybe you would try to play B5 yourself and give up the D pawn, because if everything gets traded on D4, you can play Rook to D8 and then trade rooks, and maybe your king comes from C6 to D5 and C4, And some
this is also a pretty interesting idea too. I actually didn't think of that, but yeah, it's probably okay as well.
Okay, so you might have. I thought that I was telling everyone that even down a pawn, you're probably the only one who can win that endgame there, if you play b5. But
maybe, but I'm not so sure. Because if I go b5, he goes rook d7, check, rook c7. If he exchanges and then goes bishop to e3, for example, attacking the pawn on a7.
Okay.
And then he follows it up with c4 next move. I think white's probably quite a bit better.
Oh no, I'm talking about playing b5 instead of rook c8 on move 27. And then rook takes d4, rook takes d4, rook takes d4, rook d8.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets traded.
Yeah, actually,
And maybe just play the king and bishop ending where positionally you've locked down the a3 and b4 ones. Okay, I mean, this was just
actually, that's a very interesting idea.
commentary.
I didn't think of it at the time, but it's probably quite strong.
Okay. Well, apparently, Eric was streaming some of his games with you at the same time. I don't know what his channel is, but he was trying to get a win against Hikaru, and he was quite bummed when you you didn't allow that to happen. So good stuff.
Yeah, especially in the third game.
Yeah, well, that was great. And coming back from down to pizza again, I told everybody, I said, if Hikaru wins this game, I'm going to go Wayne's World. I'm not worthy on this. And so I was like, we're not worthy. Let's see. We had some people ask a couple questions. If Hikaru, if you could give one piece of advice to a player trying to get through their beginning ratings, like 900, what's a piece of advice you can give for beginners, chess beginners?
I mean, I think the main thing at that level is just play as much as you can. I mean, it has nothing to do with quality, but just play as much as you can. Basically, at that level, what you need to do is you need to understand the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So tactics, but on a simpler level. So just saying like one move and two move combinations, which I think the best way for that is just play. I mean, play as much as you can. It doesn't matter, blitz, bullet, whatever, just play endlessly.
So at that level, it's almost quantity over quality, right? Just the amount of games
Absolutely.
they're playing.
It's about picking up the patterns.
Got it.
And so that's why it's very important.
All right, thank you, Stuart Lever, for following me on Twitter and asking that question for Hikaru. Let's see, we have another question for Hikaru. If and when you eat Oreo cookies, how many are left in the package afterwards? Are you an Oreo cookie fan?
Strangely, I had some Oreos recently for I think the first time in like maybe 15 years or something. And it was only like 4 cookies, but I have to say they did not taste anywhere near as good as they did when I was younger. So maybe I've just lost the taste for them or something. So the answer would be 1 if I actually started opening.
Thank you for that really critical question, Danny Wynn. All right, we have a game from let's see. German Andre says, Hikaru, how can you possibly know so many openings? Literally amazing. So you want to answer that?
Sure. I mean, I think there are many factors involved. I think the first one is just the changing landscape of chess these days due to computer engines, and that you have to be able to play so many different openings just to keep your opponents off balance. I mean, growing up, I really only had like one system against every opening. For example, my game against Eric, the first one I tried to play the Grand Prix attack, and that's all that I played growing up, and so, it's like against Sicilian, I had the Grand Prix attacker against e4, e5. I only played the Scotch or the Scotch Gambit. And so I only had one variation. But of course, when technology started getting better, which was around the time it was 2300, 2400, I just started adding a lot of different openings. And I think it's also why at a young age it's important to experiment, because if you reach a certain level, it's very hard to just change because you have so much confidence in what you've studied growing up that you can't. It's not easy to just decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to change and play something different. But having said that, I think one example where it's quite remarkable is the case of Vladimir Kramnik, where in 2000, I think it was maybe 2005, 6, I can't remember the exact year, he decided to go from playing one d4 to playing one e4, and he had only played d4 his entire life. But he chose to switch it up, and I think because of that, he gained a certain understanding of different structures that he was not familiar with before.
Interesting. So you feel like changing openings at different points can be with that purpose, to try to purposely get into formations or positions where there's different strategical thinking required than the normal positions you've been playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so, all right, I know more of you are coming in on Twitter and trying to get more questions. We're just going to take a couple more and then let Hikaru go. It's been a long day. Two more. One, Hikaru, if you could play any world champion in history in a match, who would it be?
Any world champion, huh?
That came from
I would have to say
Atulia
that would
Baija?
probably be Capablanca.
Why? Why Capablanca?
Just because I look back at the history of chess, and when I look at the world champions, he was the first one who I would say is probably at the grandmaster level. Like if you could bring him back today, he would still be a grandmaster, and so I think it'd be very interesting to play against someone like that, just because he was very strong for his time, and he was obviously way ahead of his time. So just having the opportunity to see the way that he thinks, the way that he approaches the game, would be really interesting.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Great answer. One more. I'm just going to choose one more here. We have one from Andreas Mauricio Amadro on Twitter. He says Hikaru. Or no. Let's see. No. I'm reading the wrong one. We have a question from a username that I will not try to pronounce. Why were you first interested in chess? What got you into chess?
I think it's that my brother started playing chess, when I was very young. I was probably about 4 years old, and he started taking lessons, and he got very good very quickly. And because of that, I was around it a lot. And then when my mother remarried my stepfather, Sunil Weramantri, who of course is a very prominent chess coach in New York City, through that, I just ended up at a lot of different chess tournaments. And so just being around it, I got interested inevitably.
Was there ever a point, this is just a question I'm thinking of since I've known you since we were younger, was there ever a point where you were considering a different career path? Like when you were younger, where you didn't want to, I mean, besides like, hey, we're 9 years old and we want to play for the Yankees. I'm saying like past that, was there a point where you were ever considering a different career path?
There was a point. I think that's when I was 17 or 18, right around that time in 2006, when I briefly quit playing chess to go to college.
Yeah.
And so definitely that was the time that I considered it. I mean, as far as what I was studying, it would have been political science, but I'm quite happy I didn't end up in that messy world, because I think chess is much simpler.
Mm-hmm. Chess does have its dirty politics, but nothing like that, right? No, I'm just curious because we've known each other forever. I've never asked you that. And do you was there something that happened during that time in your life where you decided to? Was there a particular tournament you had, or a particular experience, or did anybody say anything that changed your mind about what you were doing regarding your professional chess career?
Well, I don't think it was anything anyone did, but I think it was in November of 2006, so I was towards the end of the first semester at college when I chose to play I think it was the Liberty Bell Open in Philadelphia over the Thanksgiving weekend, and I really had not looked at any chess for probably 5 months solid. And I went into that tournament and I won the event with 5.5 out of 6, beating. I think I beat Udasin. I beat one other strong grandmaster. The name's not coming to me, and I think I drew Azoria, Georgian grandmaster, in the last round in a position where I probably was winning. So I think just the fact that I was able to come back and win with what seemed like a pretty effortless. I mean, it seemed very easy for me. It kind of just made it a lot easier to come back.
Right. You felt like, okay, maybe this is a sign that I need to keep doing this, right?
Yeah, I think because it felt so easy, it didn't feel like a grind. It's kind of like,
right.
It just felt right.
Got it. Well, cool. Good to know a little more about the U.S. champion and world number 3. Hikaru, thank you so much for doing this today.
No problem.
Thank you for reminding me of where I belong and putting me in my place with some awesome chess. And
well, it's all good. Just play the best moves. Don't try and get creative and clever and think that I actually blunder.
It's okay. You don't have to pretend. We know I'm beyond help. I'm beyond help. You don't even have to. No, but seriously, everyone follow at GM Hikaru on Twitter. Make sure you look for everything he's doing. What's your next big chess event where all your fans can look for you playing?
Right. So my next big event will be the FIDE Grand Prix in Khanty-Mansiysk, Russia, and from May 13th to 27th. So that's the 4th and final event of the FIDE Grand Prix cycle. So hopefully, if I do well, I'll qualify for the candidates.
Okay. Well, best of luck to you, and everybody here will be rooting for you. Hikaru, thank you so much for doing this today.
Thanks, no problem. Anytime.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye. All right. Well, that was Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura joining all of us here, everybody. And we're going to go ahead and bring the show to a close, wrap this thing up, as they say. Hikaru is awesome, and really cool of him to stick around and answer those questions for everybody who got to ask him on Twitter. If you have other questions, you can maybe ask them directly to Hikaru on Twitter, and maybe he can sometimes get to those. But we wish him the best of luck. We hope everybody learned something today, and you enjoyed it and had fun. Get back to your Saturday evening. Stay safe. Stay classy. And we'll see you around on Chess.com, everybody.